I swear I'm not making this video just because I've lost out on like $50 in the last week betting on the Nuggets. I have legitimate concerns about what I've seen from this team in their most recent stretch of games. Before I get started, I want to take a moment to say thank you for all of the views I've received on the trade deadline video. I worked pretty hard on that one, and it's been really cool to see it get more engagement than any other previous video by far. A couple hundred views is not what I was expecting at all, and I wish you could all see the smile that it brings to my face whenever I go and check up on it. Thank you all so much. Bigger and better things to come. Getting right into it, the Denver Nuggets are 6-4 in their last 10 games, and since early February have lost winnable games to the Magic, Grizzlies, Bulls, Spurs, and most recently the Nets. This stretch has been marked by an uncharacteristic inconsistency in the offensive production of their star, Nikola Jokic. And before I even say another word, it needs to be stated that Nikola Jokic on an off day can still do more on offense than 90% of the NBA. That being said, even while healthy, the Nuggets aren't a great team if Jokic isn't doing great things himself, which he hasn't been really. Before the game against the Nets, Jokic had been averaging just a bit over 20 points since their game against the Rockets at the end of February. To be completely fair, he's human and has still played with near godlike efficiency, but it's more about what the team as a whole is able to do, or rather what they aren't able to do when Jokic isn't outstanding. If you listen to a lot of NBA commentary, you've maybe heard the statistic that the Nuggets were flawless when Jokic recorded a triple-double this season. The NBA even wrote an article about it on March 3rd, toting the perfect 24-0 streak, which when extended into last season, stretched to 28-0, actually making it the longest triple-double win streak in NBA history. However, since then, it's now 28-2. This is a super small sample size, of course, and all streaks come to an end anyways. Ultimately, 28-0 is not really that much different from 28-2, but within those two losses are Jokic stat lines of 37, 11, and 11 against the Spurs, and a 35, 20, and 11 outing against the Nets while at home. These are games Denver should be winning. The loss to the Spurs was just sloppy and disjointed, and absolutely not something that should be seen of a team that has legitimate championship aspirations. During this period of the past 7 to 10 games, even when everybody's stat lines looked alright, things have looked way more disconnected, and as I said, a lot of it can be directly traced back to the play of Nikola Jokic. What these performances have said is when their star hasn't come ready to ball, they just don't have what it takes to get over the hill a lot of the time. They run so much offense through him, if a team is able to shut him down, more accurately I should say slow him down, and effectively utilize double teaming at the right time, it ends up in a lot of empty possessions for Denver. Especially when Jokic doesn't offer much defensive presence and can even be a liability when matched up against quicker players who just blow by him. The Nuggets have held the expectation to come out of the Western Conference this season, and that hasn't really changed for a lot of people, even with the series of moves that bolstered many teams' rosters in the West. That being said, their defense has fallen. They currently sit below the middle of the pack at 16th in the league in defensive rating and can tend to lack discipline down the stretch of a game. Overall, the main thing I'm trying to convey is that the Nuggets are showing themselves to be a lot more beatable than many might have believed even as recently as when the league resumed after the All-Star break. It would be astonishing if they gave up their first seed within the amount of time remaining in this season. They currently sit 6 wins above Sacramento, and to lose that much ground within less than 20 games would take a complete collapse of Denver's squad. Look, teams go through a lot of ups and downs anyways, so it's not like their recent losing streak is inherently indicating that that's the trend they're on, but it presents an interesting situation come the postseason. The last team to win an NBA championship without having a top 10 defensive rating in the league was the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors, and I shouldn't have to remind anyone of why that didn't really matter. In addition, their finals matchup were the Cleveland Cavaliers, who repped the second worst defensive rating in the entire league that season, so even if Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, and more couldn't defend all that well, it's not like their opponent was going to be punishing them for it anyways. But that wouldn't necessarily be the case for the Denver Nuggets this season. Luckily for them, only one of the league's top 10 defenses that also has a real chance at competing for a title resides in the West, and that's the Phoenix Suns, who traded away 2 of their strongest, if not their 2 strongest defensive assets to acquire Kevin Durant, who may now be out for the remainder of the season. Even so, the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Timberwolves, and Grizzlies all possess stronger defenses as of right now. If the Nuggets don't come ready to play and can't find the back of the net, it's really conceivable that they could get torn apart by a much worse all-around team just because their defense can be so lacking. That's not even to mention the East, where just about all of the title favorites do in fact hold top 10 defenses. I haven't really done any playoff speculation up to this point, and that isn't the objective of what I'm saying. I just want to highlight the fact that critical holes in the armor of even some of the best all-around teams can prove to be a fatal undoing, especially when that's defense, because defense wins championships. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It was a much quicker one because I wanted to just get out a few of my thoughts on the Nuggets and do it in a timely manner, which, knowing me and my schedule, would be a near impossible feat if I decided to make this much longer. I want to again express my gratitude for the views and interactions on the last video. It means a lot to see and uplifts me more than a lot of people could know. So once again, thanks for watching. Take care.